Welcome to RedEye, and today I have the pleasure to meet the Biovica team, the CEO, Anders Rylander,
Thank you, Johan.
and the president of the American on digital, Varian Cresswell.
It's nice to see you.
Excellent. And the reason is that you recently signed the first direct contract. And the first question is to Anders. Can you tell us a little more about this deal?
Yeah. So we signed our first so-called direct bill contract. So that's with a network of hospitals, or actually a lab that services a network of hospitals that can then offer our test, our product DiviTum. And it's a direct bill contract, meaning that they will be responsible for reimbursement, and we have sorted out all the details around pricing, around the logistics, etc. So that's a really big milestone for us. And I would also like to mention that this network, it consists of 30 hospitals, so it's significantly big.
Interesting. And Warren, how is this agreement structured?
Yeah, so the way it's structured is that, first of all, like Anders said, is we negotiate the price itself of the product, and we get paid through the hospital directly. So that's kind of one of the key things within the agreement. But there's a couple other different drivers, one of which is having an agreement in place like this also really facilitates a decision within the organization, so that the organization, for instance, like a formulary committee or a molecular committee, looks at the assay and confirms that it has clinical utility within the market, and they approve utilization of it in their organization. So that's one of the biggest drivers that we have. But it also enables oncologists to order the product and enables patients to have access to it. And as Anders said as well, it provides a pathway in regards to logistics, phlebotomy, sample handling, things of that nature.
And can you elaborate a little bit on the potential in terms of volumes and significance in that way?
Yeah, this is a very, very big opportunity for us. As Anders indicated, about 30 separate institutions. And so what that does is it's primarily based in Arizona. And when you take a look at the opportunity, it's about 2% of the U.S. population. So it's very, very significant that it gives us an opportunity for many, many patients to have access to DiviTum. So from that perspective, I think it's positive. And from a pricing perspective, as well, as Anders has given guidance to the market in regards to keeping it at a particular price point, and we've done that. So we feel very comfortable as well that from a pricing perspective that it's fair for our partner and for us.
So that was my next question, actually, but to elaborate a little bit on that, because you alluded to that the other wrapped agreements these were made without any specifics on a significant premium price level. Is this sort of comparable?
Yes, it is. It's very, very comparable. So with the commercial agreements, these wrap PPO agreements, these direct bill contracts, they typically foster the highest price point. And typically, when we talk about things like Medicare is typically around middle of the road price point. And then working with private insurance at the beginning anyways is typically at the lower end of the price point. So for us, these are very, very meaningful agreements.
And Anders, what have you learned from this contract process? It's taken a little bit longer than expected.
I think there's both positives and also challenges. I think I like to go back to what Warren just said, that the price point, I think that's a super important learning. Now, we actually have some dots in that diagram. This is the 4th commercial contract, 3 with payers, 1 with a hospital chain. And they all are around the same price point level, which is super important, of course, when introducing a new product, that the assumptions prior to the launch still holds. So I think that's a learning which is important. Another is that we have an attractive product. We are able to reach out to these. Warren will probably talk about the pipeline coming up. There's more to come, and we're also been able to attract both payers and oncology. So that's also positive learning. On the challenging side, we of course knew that, but this is a big organization. You have to go through many parts of the organization, and including the legal department, etc. So you have to plan for that and have a team on your side, and have a smart way of driving the process, and also work with quite a few in the parallel, because they take time, each and every one of them. I think those were the most important learning. If you want to add something, Warren?
Yeah, no, I think you've covered it quite well. On our side, we can move as fast as we can. On their side, we have to be patient and help foster the contract to move forward. So, yeah, I think Andrew's covered it well.
Yeah, and of course, Warren, you're very experienced in these matters, but it's always a matter of specifics. And I suppose you have learned some specifics out from the final process of this securing the contract.
I think even also for Warren, who has done this several times, we're coming with a product which is new to both the team and the market, of course. So that's why it's so encouraging to see the reception, both when it comes to price level and the general reception.
And you have a pretty lofty target of reaching 10 agreements, not exactly like this. This is a pretty big one involving 30 hospitals. But anyway, what's the outlook?
Yeah, Warren, you want to comment to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So since we started this whole process, we've been speaking with numerous organizations in regards to being able to put these contracts in place. And we do have a nice pipeline of these agreements that we're working on. Our commitment, internal goal is to have 10 of these contracts signed by the end of our fiscal year. And at this particular point in time, we feel like we're on track. So, like with this agreement, we have a number of them out there that we're negotiating back and forth, but be on the lookout for some additional ones coming through. But by all means, we have a lot of effort on this, and the pipeline looks quite rich.
Yeah, you look rather confident. And Warren, again, can you update us a bit on the Medicare process, the CMS process?
Yes, absolutely. So just as a recap, we have worked with AMA to be able to get our PLA code in place, which we've been successful in doing that. We've also submitted all of the necessary information, and we have worked closely with CMS to be able to get a price on that particular PLA code. So right now what's happened is that we are waiting for a determination. It's a preliminary determination for pricing from CMS. And we're not only waiting, but another, I think it's another 60 organizations that have their products, they're waiting as well. So CMS could give us this information anytime. It could be today, or it could be sometime in October. So for us, it's a little bit of sit and wait to hear their preliminary findings in regards to the pricing of the product. But we feel pretty confident that good things will come out of this.
Excellent. And Anders, could you summarize what to expect in the near future?
Yeah. So I think we can, if you summarize where we stand, we have a successful first 6 months or so as having the product commercially on the market. In US, we have the PLA code and the Medicare process that's on track. We have the agreements with payers, and now also with the hospital networks, direct bill. So we are continuing down that path. You can expect to see a pricing decision for Medicare before end of this year. Either we're going to go crosswalk or gap fill. We can live with both, really, but it will be good to have that decision, and we will communicate that. We will add additional direct bill contracts, as Warren talked about. And by the end of our fiscal year quarter, you will see an impact also in our revenue figures. So we're laying the foundation now in the US to really, we have sales, but it's not that many samples coming in. The real impact will be when we have a couple of these contracts in place, and that we can scale the business in US. In Europe, it's a little bit the same story, although we are using a partner model. We have 2 partners covering 3 territories. So you can expect that we are just like in US, we're laying the foundation, setting up the lab, validating the product in the lab. We are having a lot of different events with key opinion leader, creating awareness and demand for the product. And so you will, at the end of this fiscal year, we're following roughly the same time schedule there. On top of that, you could expect to see additional territories, agreements for additional territories before end of this year, as we are working on that as well. And I would say the last area is our pharma business, where we currently have 18 ongoing pharma projects. And we are consistently expanding that portfolio, adding more. You will see increase in revenues. That's where we have the absolute majority of our revenue nowadays, so far. And we expect to grow that as well. And our ambition there is within the coming 12 to 24 months or so, have our first co-development, so-called companion diagnostics agreement with pharma. So we're working on all those three tracks, you could say, in parallel.
Very good, and thank you for having you, Warren and Anders.
Thank you very much, Johan.